human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
When some wild-eyed eight-foot-tall maniac grabs your neck, taps the back of your favorite head up against a barroom wall, he looks at Chris in the eye and he asks if you've paid your dues.
Inconceivable! Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hey everybody, this is Topher the Hairy Bastard, and you're checking us out on Geek Public Radio, the GPR Podcast, a member of the GP Network Podcast Group.
Heck yeah, I'm Crazy Chris of Sunday Night Madness infamy, because I can't say we're famous.
So you might see that we are in the middle of a theater.
It is.
It is a whole theater.
It is. Socially responsible theater. Like, as a matter of fact, the people are so responsible that they're outside.
Actually, I chose it. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about. This was one of the items that I wanted to bring up, and what better way to illustrate it than in an empty theater?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay.
Do it.
We also wanted to talk about another round of what are they called? In-game purchases.
Pay to play?
Pretty much. This time,
EA Sports. Pay the game.
Pay the game. This time, Ubisoft again is in the crosshairs of people with the backlash. Also wanted to talk about several creators that I have talked to who do RPG stuff, who do comic books, who do whatever. Their new concerns and some of the plans that some of them have. I don't know how well this is going to reflect everybody's position, but it's probably going to make a few people irritated.
2020's done some weird stuff to people, so.
Right.
Almost over, though.
Yeah.
Yay!
If you're watching this, it is New Year's Eve, and we're here to rock out with you. We won't be here all 20, all the hours of the day, unless you actually start us right before midnight, and then we can actually bring in the New Year's.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys a 10-second warning. So 10, 9, 8. So
this is
Happy New Year.
we are officially bringing out 2020 and hopefully slow walking in a.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's not just run into 2021. Let's just take our time, make sure everything's going to be okay.
Right. Baby steps.
Test the waters. Nah, screw that, man. Sun's out, buns out. Just jump right in.
You had said something about you had something that you wanted to talk about, too.
I got a few things to discuss, but
okay.
Yeah. Just, hopefully everybody's staying safe, responsible, doing that whole nine. I mean, you notice that he and I aren't masked, but that's literally because we go through protocols and stuff like that to make sure that we're clean. So we're good.
I am so
Nobody
sanitized.
panic.
I am so sanitized that it's scary.
I don't want to use the name because apparently YouTube has been flagging people if they say the word. So I'm not going to say it, but you guys already know what it is. It's the second C, not the big C, just second C.
So to get right in, the reason we are in a theater that's empty is to illustrate one of the things that has happened this year is literally you're looking at the possible death of an entire industry. And it's not just restaurants or whatever, but theaters have not had it easy.
Well, no.
I mean, there hasn't even anything really produced, and what has been produced has went directly to streaming. Mm-hmm. So, with I was talking to Christian, the owner here at the Ellick Theater.
Yeah, we were in the Ellick Theater, downtown Alexandria, Indiana. Beautiful place, by the way.
Speaking of which, we've made a deal where this is going to be our podcast home for a while. So if you want to come watch this tape live, we'll put on the announcements what times we're going to be doing it. And they have a really nice stage sitting in front of us, and you can come out and throw stuff at us and heckle us and
oh my God,
shout out
Just like
suggestions.
junior prom.
Yeah. Wait, you had a junior prom?
No.
But no. So theater. This was like here. I wanted to kind of do this because one, it's helping my local theater. It's literally just around the corner from various places.
Yeah, we could throw rocks from here and hit his house.
But I wasn't going to give him that much information. But no,
there's 360 degrees of travel. They still have to pick the direction.
But I wanted to help out, and I wanted to do something. So they were kind enough to rent us the space. So we were here.
And it's beautiful here. Like I said, it's a gorgeous theater. I remember coming here years and years ago when I lived in Ellick. And they play the movies on the screen, and it was awesome. Like, and it's an older theater. It's not new by any stretch of the imagination. So if you're looking for recliners, you're not going to get that. But
well,
yeah,
no, well, kind of, because like past like row 6 back here is the old rocking chair.
That's right.
Thing, so you can literally sit back and
these things are still ridiculously comfortable. I mean,
even the
front seats, yeah.
You get the newer chairs in the front, but like those are like they just put new padding in. They put new backs on. They're all nice and comfy. You sit back and you can actually recline, and the old rocking chair theater.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much I love the place so much that they've actually the Tube on January 15th will be here on the big screen. So
yes,
Rutledge
sir.
Productions, the Tube. We will be having.
I'm really excited for that, by the way.
VIP tickets are available, which you can come in for. The ticket prices here are ridiculous. It's like $5.99 for a ticket.
Yeah, and that's the huge benefit to a theater like this. It's always been that low.
Yeah, this was after the price change.
Yeah.
Like they've raised the prices.
Yeah, because it was like $2.
Like
$3. There you go.
$2 for children, $3 for adults. Now it's $5, $3.
Yeah, the Benjamin Button thing didn't work when I tried to get the $2 tickets, but paid an extra $1. It's fine.
But the really cool thing is so for like $5-6 you can come in, enjoy the movie, watch the Q&A afterwards. If you pay the $20, that includes a free drink. Large drink and a medium popcorn, and access to the meet and greet that beforehand, where you can actually meet some of the local people who helped produce the movie, help star in the movie, help make the movie, and all that stuff. So it is going to be a pretty cool event. You get almost $15 worth of drink and soda and everything else. So, but you're helping. The money goes towards helping this place keep going. And I have to be honest, a little bit of the money is going to go towards our next project for the Black Book, which is the movie is finished, the comic books are coming, the book is finished, it's out. You can get it on Amazon and in some of your local stores. You can also get the hardback at Barnes & Noble and a couple other places. So,
and the cool thing about the comic book is that we're attempting to get the comic book done using local artists, and stuff like that, because we don't want to push it out to like a big publication company or big comic company or anything like that. We're trying to get independent artists to work on it. So that's trying to keep everything local, trying to keep all the money in the state, trying to keep everything going around.
Especially since like right now the area that we're in is in red or whatever.
It's Madison County, though, so I'm not going to talk too much crap, but sweet Jesus, the instructions are pretty simple.
Well, I mean, like, I hate to say it, but, like, the people that I know got it never left the house.
Well,
and they always wore masks.
We won't go into too much detail about it. It's
you can't blame everybody for just randomly going to the bar, which is where 90% of the people on other devices seem to.
Yeah, the my big thing is all I have actually learned in 2020 about things is that they don't know anything. That's all I've learned.
Right.
You be smart. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Be intelligent. Don't.
This is basically the stuff that we tell people like at conventions.
Yeah.
Be clean.
Yeah.
Don't smell. Wash your hands.
The conventions, man. Oh, my God. I love going to conventions because it's such a wonderful time, and it's so beautiful. And I'm sad that we missed every convention this year.
Right.
But,
And what was sad was like at the beginning of the year, we actually booked
3 or 4. How many do we have?
like 5. Like we were looking at
up
the
that
very end of conglomeration, and then you had
Hoosier Con.
Hoosier Con. Then there was the one we're actually Geek Public Radio is actually the official radio station for the convention.
Oh my God, I cannot remember the name of it.
In conjunction.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I knew
they're gonna be mad at me.
I almost
They're
said
like,
Dragon Con, and I was like, that's not right.
They're gonna be mad at me. They're gonna be like, you literally forgot us. The very first convention we did live.
I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So in conjunction.
But then there was the one from not Cincinnati.
The Dragon Con's the one that's in Ohio. It's a big one that's in Ohio.
Well, I'm talking about it was another one that was up near Jassel's area.
Oh God, I don't
It's not
remember.
Cincinnati. It's
Cleveland?
yes.
Okay. I'm not sure about that one, to be quite honest with you.
We were booked for that one, but things happened.
And then obviously Gen
whatnot.
Con.
Yeah, and then Gen Con. And we were also gearing up to promote the Black Book this year, which is getting ready to come out.
I'm super excited to see Black Book, by the way.
We've
see the finished product. Like, I helped work on it, but I can't wait to see the finished product. I haven't even seen it yet. So
that will also be appearing in theaters. Probably not near you unless you can talk to the theater owners and getting hold of us. We have no problem sending out the DCP thumb drives that have the movies, so you can play it on the digital theater with the digital theaters and all that stuff. We would love to get it in more theaters, but as it sits, we're looking at 3 or 4 theaters right now. The goal is to get all 15 theaters that we were working on getting our own little network
of theaters getting
together.
ready and geared up so we can show it. Yeah, absolutely.
So
and that would be great because the more that you can promote independent filmmaking and the more that you can showcase local talent, because a lot of the people from Black Book were showcased locally. I know some of them aren't, but they're not.
Right. Well, I mean, you have people just like the Tube, which is coming out. You have Katie O'Brien from that was
Mandalorian,
Z Nation. She was George from Z Nation. She is next to be seen actually this coming week, January 8th, on Hawaii. The other one that feeds into Hawaii 5-0 Magnum PI.
Yeah, Magnum PI. Yeah.
She's actually on Magnum PI.
Nice.
The first episode out the box.
See, we grab people and then they rocket off into space. See, that's how that.
So she was in it. Mark Nash was in the Clove Hitch Killer and several other things.
Oh, love Mark Nash. Did we get? I don't remember if we got Don Becker or not for Tube. Did we?
Yeah.
Did we? Okay. So Don Becker's in Tube.
He is known as the guy who catches the snow globe in the nuts. From the Super Bowl commercial.
The Doritos Super Bowl commercial.
The very first one that won the $1 million.
Yep. That was produced by Koch brothers?
Herbert Brothers.
Herbert Brothers. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're going to hunt you down now.
Probably.
But
well, they're millionaires, so I got confused.
But yeah, so you got him in there. You got a lot of fun different actors. In the Black Book, we have Ari Lehman, who was the first Jason.
Yep. And to clarify that for anybody who's like, wait, the first Jason, that was Kane Hodder. Or not, it wasn't Kane Hodder. Kane Hodder came later. But Ari Lehman is he was boy Jason. He was the child.
Kid.
He was child Jason. And at the very very end of the boat and stuff like that. That's
he tells a lot of fun stories. Like
he does. He's hilarious. I really enjoyed working with him. He was great.
Talking about like being underwater. And like not knowing because you can't hear anything, and not knowing when to jump out and whatever, and like he did it once and like overacted, and literally like came up and whacked
her,
and like literally took her over, and almost tried to take her out. And the funny part, they were like, okay, less, whatever. So, like, but the part where you see her actual reaction is the first take where he comes out and just, like, straight...
he elbow checks her.
Just tries to, like, take her head off.
Decapitates her.
He was a little exuberant. So,
but like you said, though, you know, being under the water like that has got to be absolutely... It's got to be kind of like a worrisome experience because, you know, it's supposed to be timed and things like that. And we've done some timed shoots where you're blind. Like, for instance, you know exactly which one I'm talking about, where we had to coordinate particular effects to make sure that they go off when they're supposed to and reactions and things like that. But you're completely blind. So you got to face down and you got to, like, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
He's like, okay, no, give me another
countdown.
Give me another 3 beats before you pop up.
And it's you know, it's fun. So I can only imagine what it's like under the water where you're completely blind, you're deaf, you have no idea what's going on. So you just have to rely on making sure they started on time.
Right.
To do your thing. But that was fun.
But no, like, so we're working with a theater, but this is a plight of theaters all over. Wonder Woman was a good example. Like, I was talking to Christian, and he said that Wonder Woman has tanked at the box office.
Yeah, it's because a lot of people are staying home to stream it. Why would you?
It's literally only done 200,000.
Yeah, and it's why would you go to, you know, a theater during a situation such as this one, when you can stay home and watch it, you know, safely. And so it becomes this, I don't know, not this danger, I suppose, but it becomes this bigger than it actually is, because all these movies are going to tank. All these movies are going to, you know, do bad because it almost becomes a rent. That's what I was looking for. It becomes a rental situation where I can watch it whenever I want. I don't have to schedule a date night. I don't have to get a babysitter. I don't have to do all these fun things that.
In fact, when we're done here, we are actually the preview, the pre-show or whatever for Wonder Woman.
Yep. So literally right in front of us on the big screen. As soon as we're wrapping up here, well, shortly after we wrap up here, they'll be getting ready to start Wonder Woman on the big screen. So,
but so no, like I mean, it makes sense because, you know, the streaming platforms are paying the places to have the, you know, like, oh, well, you've got a brand new movie, well, we'll give you this much, but it's not going to be anything what they would have gotten. No. So you're going to look at the death of big budget stuff for a while because nobody's going to have the money, because the investors are going to be like, you're not going to get the money back. Yeah, and I mean,
but I will say it does encourage a more digital medium and a more stream-friendly medium.
Right. I do have to say, sitting in this chair makes me... I didn't lose all this weight to look fat.
Like, my shirt's kind of light, but, like, I lost 27 pounds, so I feel really good about that. But
I'm down 50, so... Like I said, when I'm sitting there...
He's lost a bunch of weight.
You know, I'm just feeling like, oh, I'm fat. You know, I got all this whatever, but...
I was literally gonna say I lost all my weight by cutting soda out of my diet as I sit here drinking a Rip It. But I did about 90% of my soda intake. I cut that completely out. So, but
as I grab
back to the theaters and things like that. Like, it's a dying medium, and it sucks because. And to be quite frank, the data supported the decline of movie theaters before this happened. It just accelerated it rapidly, and it became a much worse situation for theater owners and things like that, because theaters are literally one of the very few industries that is essentially all profit. Like, other than your overhead, it's essentially all profit. You have popcorn, which costs basically nothing. You have soda, which costs basically nothing. You have to pay your employees. But, I mean, as long as people show up to the theater, if you get a half a house every single night, then it pays for itself.
Well, that depends. Because I'm
not talking about theaters like this one, because that's completely different.
Right, well, I'm just saying, because, this is the only theater in the entire county.
Oh, my God, that's right. They did close all the counties. Oh, my God, they did close all the theaters.
So, I mean, you can go to Grant County.
Yeah.
Or you can go to Tipton.
That's right.
Or Noblesville.
Tipton has a drive-in, doesn't it?
I don't know. I was getting ready to get a hold of him because we're actually looking to put the Tube and the Black Book back-to-back in several drive-ins.
That'd be cool. I know there's still
Like
I know there's still a
Wabash.
couple in Indy, and the drive-ins are actually doing okay. There's a lot of people are still, to do their date night or whatever.
Right.
They can't go to a theater, so they're going to, doing drive-ins.
Well, the
and stuff
thing
like
is,
that,
there's
which
a lot
cool.
of places like this. This is a 450 house. So even say like they cut it down to a quarter, you don't have 25% occupancy. There's sanitation stations all over the place. Everybody, you come in, you're socially segregate. You move everybody around, and you're socially distanced and all the other stuff. There's plenty of opportunity to still come out and watch a movie. Like I said, when we're doing our thing, 100 people can still come out, even if we're down to 25% occupancy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We could get easily 100 people in here. And
Socially distanced.
The way that it looks right now, that framed in the camera, is obviously we have it framed a specific way. But the way that it looks, it's actually probably twice as wide as what you're seeing currently.
Yeah.
Actually, probably more than that, really.
Let's say if you look back on the thing, you can see the other row starting back there and whatnot.
Yeah.
As
So
I lean forward so
wide,
nobody can actually point to.
Right,
Yeah,
to get all the way in the camera to show them.
That, like up here. Like that's a whole nother section
And then you
back
got,
there.
back here. Oh my God, I gotta rotate like really far there. But yeah, like right there in that corner right there, and then it comes all the way back down this way. So, but it's a large theater. Like it's a lot bigger than you think it is. And so there's ample opportunity to be able to socially distance safely, to be able to enjoy the show. And obviously, if you're sick or things like that, don't come out. Just exercise common sense. Like if you're sick, don't leave the house. If you got a cough, a fever, anything like that, any of the symptoms or signs, even if it's just the flu, just stay home. There's no, and that's the other thing. I always hated that about conventions. Like you'd see people walking, and they'd be talking.
Hey, can I have that?
Welcome to Gen Con. I'm like, oh my God.
That's what I want. The con crud.
Yeah, the con crud. So just if you're sick, stay home. Right, but I mean, if you're feeling good, and you're safe, and you've been safe, come on out. Be responsible. Come on out. Check out the movie. Check out the tube, and then we're gonna preview Black Book.
Yeah,
during that stream.
there's
So
a
that's gonna be great.
5-minute sneak peek of the Black Book. We're gonna start off with that. That way, people can see how we've grown.
That's true, and it's true because the tube is some of the early work for Geek
It's
Public
literally-
Radio, Rutledge Productions, and things like that.
It's literally the very beginnings. So they're all beautifully shot. They all look good.
They do.
Some of them we didn't have the best actors. Some of them we didn't have the best scripts. So, but we tried. We made really good stuff out of what we could. And then, like I said, with the Black Book,
It's making chicken salad out of chicken stuff.
But we with that. We have a really cool movie and a whole lot of stuff coming out with it, soundtracks, comic books, the book. And you can actually own the Black Book.
So we're kind of going all out with the Black Book because that one's extremely well done, very good. The sound is great, music is great, actors are fantastic. And can we just be I'm the star? Let's just be 100% here. In the Black Book, I steal the absolute show. So if you're going to watch the Black Book and you want to see true talent on display,
well, you are actually going to be in the.
That's right. I'm going to be in the sneak peek. That's how freaking valuable of a member of the team I am.
But
I did have a blast with that, though. That was so much fun. But yeah,
I'm
you guys
surprised you didn't break yourself.
Hey, that's the amateur wrestling background, man. That's how we do. We just we're like, oh hey, this is,
amateur professional.
You want me to backflip off a 2-story building into a dumpster? I got you. Let's go. $50, got it.
Well, it says the guy, that I was like, hey, we need help moving this refrigerator. Well, just strap it to my back.
I'll strap it to my back. I'll just carry it upstairs.
And literally just grab the straps like this, pulled them over his shoulders, stood up with it, and then walked upstairs.
I did that. It's
I was like, okay, well, yeah.
Well, because the dolly was worthless, there was no way we could get the grip on it the right way, and I was just like, I'm done. I was done arguing with it. I was done fighting with it. If skill and patience
didn't work,
and talent don't work, brute force usually does. I exercise all three of those things first. If those all fail, brute force. It's fine.
So the
technique was the word I was looking for.
But the theater, some theaters are doing something they've started booking for escape rooms here. So it's an escape theater. They have an entire thing that you can do to do an escape room to get out of the theater, quote unquote. And they also have picked up esports. So,
that's right. Yep, I remember hearing about that.
So, like, when you come in, you'll see, like, why is the theater got, like, 4 big TVs on the side? Well, so you can watch, like, a whole bunch, but no. Like, they put on, they have stuff for each of the small TVs. Small. They're, like, 65-inch.
Yeah, they're not small TVs. Like, they're just small in comparison to the giant screen in front of us.
But you got that, and, like, the featured matches happen on the big screen.
Right.
So, like, if you're a featured match, you sit back there and play up there. So it's really pretty cool. They're doing a lot of fun stuff.
I agree, and that's the thing. Places like Alexandria and other the Alexandria Theater and some other places, they're actually getting pretty creative to generate revenue. To save themselves from potentially going under and things like that. And so
I just thought of something. Like, here we are pointing and doing and talking about all this stuff, but the audio podcast guys would be like,
guys,
like the people listening to the audio podcast would be like,
that's the danger of camera. You get comfortable with it. You think that everybody's watching as opposed.
So you can watch us on YouTube or listen to us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all of that other stuff.
Yeah. Are we still running off Spreaker too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you just find us on there too. But yeah, it's that was one of the things that I was going to discuss about, like, doing my own stunts. To harken back into that for a second, so I was watching this breakdown of like the different botch spots gone wrong, or different spots like for wrestling gone wrong. And for anybody's clarification, a spot is when 2 wrestlers usually set up a particular move, and it has to be done in a particular way to make sure both wrestlers are safe. It's called a spot, but it's a botch spot where somebody screwed up and did something stupid. Well, there was one in particular. It was a backyard wrestling promotion type thing, right? And those are just rife. No matter how you slice it, those are just rife with accidents. And I don't care how careful you think you're being. Backyard wrestling is like one of the most dangerous because you're responsible for somebody else's safety, but you're an amateur and you've not been trained properly, so you're probably going to hurt somebody. But this particular one, they were setting up this dude drop kicks a guy, and he stands up, and a car just comes flying out the screen and clips him, and throws him in the air. And I just kind of looked, and I'm like, why would you do that? I laughed.
Like, was it planned that the car would clip?
Yes. You can hear the announcer like, oh, my God, a car just came in. And I'm like, no, if that wasn't planned, he would have you'd have seen about 50 wrestlers mobbing that car.
Like, why?
But I was making a joke.
God.
I was making a joke to my friend. I was like, I guess anything for $50. Because a lot of these guys, these backyard guys, don't make diddly. Some of them just do it to put stuff on film, and I'm like, that's not going to go on your highlight reel, I promise.
I got hit by a car.
Hit by a car once. I'm a tough guy. It was ridiculous, but I laughed. I mean, it did its job.
Yeah, what's funny is you brought the wrestling up. So I was literally sitting here and looking at the setup and whatnot, and like, it literally looks like we would be ring announcers.
Ring announcers for a wrestling ring.
Oh my God, he's got a family.
What a slobber knocker.
We're here for a real slobber knocker. Ah, good old JR.
But
Which I don't think that's copyrighted, so
no,
I don't believe so. JR's barbecue is.
It's
delicious, by the way.
1940s called. They want their vernacular back.
Oh, wow.
He likes Oklahoma for some reason.
Because he's from there.
That's what
We'll be all right. See, that's how Chris lost a bunch of weight. Drinking Powerade that's full of sugar.
Yeah. Actually, it's the least power, or least sugar.
I know. I think I say most of them are for like an entire bottle is like 200 calories or something like that. Usually like a 30-ounce bottle, so it's not too bad.
It's like the least sugar, but the most. Would you stop your messing with the camera?
I did no such thing. That never happened.
But it has the most sodium, and since I have like really hyper low low blood pressure or whatever.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And all of my friends who like can't eat salt and all this stuff, I'm over here going.
Hey, just hook up the IV drip of the MSG right to my veins, buddy. That's all I need. I just need you to get me set, man. goes into the butcher shop and he's like, yeah, I'll take the fattiest cut of meat you got. Could you extra salt that for me?
Well, it's just salt, not cholesterol. So I still got to watch that.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I'm doing good, like on my cholesterol. It's just, when you're rocking a 98/84 blood pressure.
Yeah, that's probably not good. I think mine's probably around there. Like, I probably need to start watching what I'm drinking and eating and all that stuff. But.
It was like all my friends were like, I have 140 over 110 or 150 over 110. And I'm like, yeah, it must suck.
Yeah.
Like, you're worried about it, like, stroking out. I'm over here worried about passing out.
I had so I actually was doing I looked at those Bang Energy because I'm trying to find alternatives to soda that I can actually drink that still gives me my caffeine.
No,
that
no
doesn't
caffeine.
give me my caffeine, yeah. That'll actually give me my caffeine intake because that is probably the number one thing I'm actually addicted to. Like, you would think it'd be the other horrific habit that I have, but no, it's
Wait,
probably
wean
caffeine.
off of it. I literally went cold.
Well, I don't want to because I enjoy it. So you gotta have the desire. I do not. But I've been looking at different things to like supplement. So I found those Bang energy drinks, and I was like, okay, let's try these. And they're made with aspartame or aspartame.
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 The cancer causing stuff.
Well, it's the fake sugar stuff.
Yeah, the cancer causing stuff that they took out of Diet Coke.
But it's not actual aspartame. It's a different fake sugary stuff. It actually tastes okay.
Splenda.
Probably. But I went in there to look, and I saw that it's got 0 calories. Like, it's a 0 calorie energy drink, and I'm like, that's super bizarre, but let's give it a shot. No, I enjoyed them. I think it was with black cherry vanilla. So I didn't pay too much attention to it because I'm like, oh, it's probably just like a Monster or Rip It or things that I'm used to drinking. So I had like 3 in the course of like 8 hours, 9 hours. Didn't think nothing of it. I went to bed that night, or I tried to go to bed that night.
And then you were awake for 75
hours. I stared
hours.
at the ceiling for like 6 hours, and I was like, I've never had this much energy. And to think about it wasn't even energy. I was just awake. Like, I could not fall asleep.
You had enough vitamin B12 in you to kickstart a donkey.
I probably could have leveled a small continent of depression right at that moment. Like, just go around and start breathing on depressed people, and they would have been like, oh my God, I feel so much better. That's how much B12 was running through my system.
One of the other things I wanted to talk about, I was trying to, like, as we were talking about this, I was trying to figure a segue, and short of actually just rolling a segue behind us.
Or off the cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we need, a segue off the cliff.
Yeah.
Look that up, by the way. That's on a Sunday night. Whoops, I'm pointing at the freaking thing. That is on a Sunday Night Madness podcast. If you ever want to know the story about the person who invented the segue, go check it out. Go check out the Sunday Night Madness podcast because we talk about it. It's hysterical.
Yeah, you're pointing at the screen or whatever when you point at the camera.
Yep.
I have a habit of looking at that.
Looking at the screen, yeah, because I'm like, how do I look? Am I good here? Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just making
still pretty.
I also like looking behind us to make sure that some of my rabid fans are just like running through.
My God, he's got a chair. That's what I want. Excuse me.
Somebody, taking a soccer ball to the face 17 times.
Yes. I kind of want to watch that. Scott Sterling!
So the...
good callback, by the
way. Sliding back to some stuff like people having a hard time. I've talked to several creators, and we were discussing plans for stuff, comic books, whether it be movies, whether it be podcast stuff or RPG books and game design and stuff like that. And I've started hearing an actual disturbing trend coming, and that is the climate has gotten to the point where nobody can do anything without being afraid of being canceled, shouted down, boycotted, and whatnot. That
for like filming and
creators are actually starting to pull away and actually not and be interested in creating anymore.
So the climate,
since everything offends everybody.
Okay, I got you.
They can't do, like they run the risk of like losing their entire livelihood just by somebody taking one thing out of context.
Yep.
Or not understanding something or whatever. So everything has to be so bleached and sanitized that they feel they can't make interesting things that point out certain things to make it, more of a point. Like even if you're talking about, I'm not talking about like, oh, they wanted to do Nazi characters or whatever. That's not the point. That's not the thing is everything has to be so sanitized that you're not coming out with anything that's original. You're not able to come out with anything that is sparks a conversation. You can't do any of this other stuff because you're going to offend somebody and it's going to get boycotted or they're going to call for your head.
Which, in my opinion, and I'm sorry, I have felt this way for the longest time, and the way that I'm trying to be as articulate as I can without going on too much of a rant for anybody. But freedom of speech is exactly that.
Right, but freedom of speech is only directed at the government can't come in and put you in jail for
right.
saying
And
the
so
government
in cancel culture, the whole thing about it is like people calling for boycotts and things like that. They fall under the same purview. They're allowed to say that. They're allowed to do that. And it sucks that a lot of people get swept up in that for fear of looking like a supporter of something that they don't agree with, as opposed to just somebody who doesn't care. Like for the most part, I see I'm a member of several groups, and I see offensive things posted almost daily, and by offensive I mean by the lens of society, it would be considered like inappropriate. It would be considered offensive to somebody at the very minimum. And one of the things that I see quite frequently are religious memes and like memes that could probably be blasphemous inside of most Christian circles. I don't particularly find religious memes or religious jokes, for the most part, I don't find them all that funny. I don't complain about it. I don't bitch I don't complain. I don't whine. I don't sit there and bellyache about it. I just move on, and I don't waste energy trying to shut somebody down because I saw something that offended me. It's the challenge of ideas is part of what shapes and is able to mold people into being better individuals. So you may not agree with somebody's particular ideology, but if you hear them out, listen, have a conversation, reflect, and even be able to debate, at minimum, you should want to hear what they have to say. Mm-hmm. To better equip yourself for an argument in the future, so you could better bolster your point. And after listening to somebody else's viewpoint, if you still hold the same position, that's because you have a conviction in that position, as opposed to you're just regurgitating someone else's talking points. Because if you're afraid to hear somebody because you think they're going to convince you different, then that means you don't really have a lot of faith in your argument to start with, and you should just question it 100% from that moment forward. Well, I mean,
you just got to question everything.
And that's the thing. We're supposed to do that. We are the most curious creatures on the face of the planet.
But it's to kind of get to bring that back.
And if you're not curious, you're stagnant.
Is the fact that you have groups who are very much love some of the fandoms that they belong to.
Oh, yeah.
And you have creators in those fandoms who do not feel comfortable anymore producing stuff.
Yeah.
Because of, stuff can be taken wrong, can be taken out of context because somebody just wants something to complain about. Like I said, I know several comic book guys who are just like, yeah, no, I'm not. I may do one project maybe this year. I'm not really looking to do much. I've had RPG people, and honestly, the conversation started up because we're getting near the point of playtesting the GPR house system. Mm-hmm. It's a universal system. You can play anything that you want to play. You can do all of this stuff with it. We have kept teasing it over the years that it'll be a free the base game will be free online, and then we'll have because we'll be paying people to write supplements and whatnot. So the supplements and everything, so you can actually have before Altered Carbon actually got its own thing. We actually have a full. It was free to play a full setup for full Altered Carbon for our system.
Right.
Character creation was changed a little bit because of the stacks and like the interchangeable bodies and all the other stuff. So some of that stuff, we had to hammer down. But I honestly have, because I was like, I asked questions like, I'm kind of not interested in doing anything with this anymore.
Right.
Because all it takes is a setting to, for what we were thinking, okay, being historically accurate in a game that's set in a historical period. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, well, no, that's going to be problematic. History is problematic.
Yeah. And I think what irritates me the most about that is people are selective. It's the selective outrage actually irritates me, and it's not so much that people are outraged about certain things that happen in history, because those are some of the things that you're upset about. Those were horrific things, and you should be upset. Yes, those things should upset you. It should be unsettling. It should challenge you. But to be selectively outraged about stuff, like the primary focus, right, we hear a lot about the Nazis, right? Mm-hmm. That is a huge focal point that people, and it's honestly, a lot of people, if you disagree with me, you're a Nazi. Like, that's a huge thing that people throw out there all the time, and it's so stupid. And to just focus on that and ignore all the other tragedies that happened well before Nazis were even a thing.
Well, I'm just talking about
well, that's what I'm saying. All of history is filled with tragedy. All of history is filled with horrendous activities. And just because a certain thing is set historically accurate doesn't make it troublesome. It should not be that way. And for somebody just to point to a time period and say that's a problem.
Like the thing that happened with Vampire. I don't know if the guy was really a fascist guy, alt-right dude, or whatever. But when I was reading some of the stuff that he had done, all he had done is put a character, a Nosferatu character, who was alive during World War II.
And that was all I could really find about it.
That's all I found about it. That's all I could, because it wasn't.
But I'm also not. I've completely stopped even paying attention to that culture in general, because a lot of LARP culture is they're cancerous and they're extremely toxic people, and I just try to stay away from them now. And I know that sucks to say, because I love to LARP. I love those people. I love my interactions with a lot of those people.
Right. No, there's a lot of people that I love. Group, that I literally look at what they post, and I go, if this was anybody else, I wouldn't have that hate in my life. So why am I? The people that I really do care about, they're actively going out and hunting down and badgering people, and it's to the point where it's I think it's a waste of energy. I think when I watched a couple guys that I know that, and a couple guys and a couple girls that I know that really feel a certain way, badger a rape survivor online and pretty much bully them because they were uncomfortable having somebody who's dressed as me, like if I walked into the girls' bathroom or whatever, and it doesn't matter what, I feel uncomfortable. I was attacked in a bathroom. Yeah. I feel uncomfortable when somebody who presents this way is in there with me. And then they turn around and
problem
call
with
them bigots and this all the other stuff.
And that's the problem with the victim mentality is
so you're harassing a victim.
You can't neatly box victims and perpetrators into these type. A lot of times they intersect. There's an intersectionality with that. Are you sure that even though you're a victim, that you're not being a perpetrator and victimizing somebody else? Are you the saint that you claim to be, or are you actually part of the problem?
Right.
And that's a big issue, because it's not they're not neat little boxes of victimhood and marginalization. It's not. It's never been that way. Human beings do not behave that way.
Well, no, it's
you can't tribalize us that way.
I was
either.
Treated this way, so I'm going to treat everybody worse.
Yeah.
Types of. But, you know.
Individuals are fine. It's when groups of people start to get there, that's when they're stupid. And I'll say this again.
Groups.
Social media. Yeah, groups of people are awful, but social media is horrible. It is a terrible, terrible place. It is where good ideas go to die. I used to think that forums were where rules go to die. Right? Like, I say that all the time. People are like, oh, we made a forum. I'm like, well, all the rules are dead.
Like, straight up, I literally miss bulletin boards and forums. That way I can go and go, okay, well, this is the forum that talks about this. I'm going to go here. And this is my vampire LARP forum. Blah. And I do all my vampire stuff here. And I go, I'm interested in filmmaking. Here's a filmmaking forum. And I can talk, and that's the whole subject. You push all that stuff together, throw in Newsgrounds on top of it, with a big dose of 4chan, and you have Facebook.
Yeah. And that's absolutely true. It's they took the best, and this is the whole thing. When I say, I think Facebook in its conception was actually a really good idea because it was designed to bring people closer. Well, it evolved into being a place where people could come together, share ideas, network, keep in touch without having to travel 5,000 miles or call people all the time.
Right.
So boom, it's right there at your fingertips. You can talk to multiple people, and it's fine. But
then you get the like button.
And then it became a popularity contest, and then it became a who can be the loudest voice and who's got the most friends, and it's almost ridiculous. But for instance, like when I talk to and I'll put this on a smaller level, like I'll scale this down a little bit with football, right? We're not going to talk about politics or victimhood or anything like that, but just like on a smaller level, just like football fans, right? Everybody has their fandom. Everybody has a particular team that they root for, that they love, and that they want to see, succeed. But when groups of those fans sometimes get together, they're almost rabid in some of the stuff that they say. And it's hard to challenge, like, one person because they might be upset in that moment, right? And so they rattle off something that they maybe didn't really mean, but it'll be another person that might have that same thought in the back. They're like, yeah, screw that guy. And you watch it. It's like a waterfall, a cascade of comments that repeat and regurgitate the same, and it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's fire the head coach. Like, for instance, like the Colts this year, okay? They're 10-5. We might miss the playoffs. It's neither here nor there. But after the games, and I'm a part of several of these different like chats and things like that in which we all discuss these things because I'm a huge football fan. I love football. But
yeah, you and your sports ball.
My sports ball. So, so I watched this cascade effect of people just fire the coach, fire these worthless people. I'm like, he's 10-5. Like
he's better than 50-50.
He's literally.
It's a winning.
Got you 10 wins.
Yeah,
he's doing something right.
It's technically a winning season. So I mean,
right? Like, but
and he was
the amount of people that I have
tied.
seen.
They were. I don't know if they are now, but they were tied for the USC or whatever South.
The AFC South, right?
Yeah.
Technically, their records are tied, but Tennessee does have the slight edge at this particular point in time. Hopefully, hopefully the Texans beat them next week, and we take care of business. But regardless,
right? So you're winning the division or whatever.
No, we might miss the playoffs altogether. Like, we need help. It's pretty bad.
Right, but how could you be in the head of the AFC?
We're not the head. That's what I just said. We're technically tied, but Tennessee has a tiebreaker on us.
Right.
So Tennessee is ahead. We are not. If Tennessee loses and we win, then we will be in.
Right. So I'm just saying, like, that close to.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But and granted, there are several mistakes along the way that happened, and those are fine to talk about. And an honest criticism and conversation is perfectly fine to have. But the amount of people that just, even in football, and I found that it's just when somebody is passionate about something, they tend to drift from one extreme to the other. And you can honestly peg most of those people, and they probably operate that way in their real life, something that they care about or feel strongly about. It's often they're going to be on this end of the spectrum or they'll be on this end of the spectrum, and there will be no conversation in the middle to be had. Especially if they're upset, especially then, and that is literally what Facebook has become. It's become this far side or this far side, and there's no room for compromise in the middle because somebody is always upset on Facebook, and so when you post something
or Twitter's really
Twitter's bad too because it's impossible to articulate a thought in 240 characters. I'm sorry,
but so that's that. I mean, so imagine creating in that climate.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like I can't imagine the eggshells and tiptoeing through the tulips. Like how hard that must be.
What's funny
ridiculous.
is
even safe places aren't safe.
Like scrolling through TikTok. Like the big TikTok people who have like 1.5 million followers, or like all of these are literally being attacked.
Yes.
Right now, like huge, like what would be considered like the biggest Twitch streamers equivalent, having people just go in and reporting stuff for nudity and for violations of this and violations of that, and they're literally just sitting around talking. Like if we were doing a show and somebody got on whatever, like if we were on TikTok and doing this, flag, like we're literally not doing anything. It's just because
it's become these platforms are so big they're impossible to be moderated, and so they put them on they let bots moderate.
What's funny is
they set up algorithms so when a thing is reported, these algorithms literally are just like if it gets flagged enough times, and that's what it is. If it gets flagged enough times, the bot will automatically cut it down, and it's not even a person that does it, and that's not even a person who reviews it.
my favorite thing was it was like the guy was like, okay, well, we can't talk about this, that, and he shows this like one little video, and it's like, because that will get banned, or that will get bummed. What about talk about this? And then that video, he was like, oh, nope, community guidelines. What about this one? And nope, that subject is, like, okay, here's my cat.
Look, I have a cat.
But no, apparently you can do all sorts of certain things on that, but you can do all sorts of stuff on that app, but point out where people are abusing things, because that's the ones that they get gone after.
Yeah.
The guy was like pointing out and like actually showing like all of the adults who were making lewd comments on children's TikToks, and like calling them out and doing stuff about it. Like he got banned, like perma-banned. Not the guys who were doing it. The people who were bullying and whatnot. There were some that like straight up they were calling people names. They were doing all this other stuff. So I just kind of just like, I wonder. And so I reported it for bullying, and I pointed whatever, and it came back like, oh, well, they didn't violate the guidelines and yada yada. I'm like, I'm literally looking at your guidelines right here, and it does violate your terms of service. So,
yep.
And that's where I kind of gave up. Like I'm just not.
Yeah.
You don't. That when everybody was all upset, like, oh, we're talking about banning TikTok. I'm like looking at like all of the stuff that's going along on TikTok that nobody wants to talk about.
Right.
And
I was like, yeah, when they said that,
like the big creators who are being bullied because they're big creators. Like, I don't like what you say. I'm going to ban everything. I'm going to try to get you banned.
If you ever want to know how that started, by the way,
it's like 30 seconds, 60 seconds.
Check out the history of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
I'm serious. That's actually what they did. They just bullied farmers and people who just had more money than them until the point where they were cast out and they were burning down their houses. Yeah, because they were mad, because they were jealous. Yeah. That's serious. I'm not even making that up. That's
you turn
Soviet
around
history.
You push it out to the point where like nobody who does the cool stuff. And that's what you get back to the creators. If you're going to push it to where nobody can say anything, and you're going to lose all of the fandoms that you want, because they're either just going to be rehashes of the same old stuff, and then you're going to get, well, this is tiresome. They need to do whatever. None of this stuff, all this stuff's
can't
been
do anything
before.
new, because every time they try something new, you got to complain, throw fits, and set fires. Like, what are we going to do?
Right. So, or my favorite thing was like all they do is do remakes.
Yep.
This, that, and the other. Well, this was a new take on this. Oh, no, that movie sucked.
Yep.
But it was new. And it was different.
You know what was a good? I liked Pacific Rim because it was basically just giant. It's Gundam.
It was robot jocks.
And it was awesome. It was great. I enjoyed those movies very much. I thought they were really well done for what they were. And I was like, this is cool.
Robot jocks.
Yeah, it's robots versus monsters. This is perfect. Right? And that idea has been done before. That wasn't new.
Right.
But it was a fresh story and a fresh take on the idea. That's all I'm asking for. And that's from a creator standpoint. That's all I really want. You know, Beauty and the Beast, that idea has been done, but doesn't mean you can't do it and make something different.
Well, you know they say that when you're talking about screenwriting, and that was one of the things that when I teach people and I help people with their screenwriting is know how to set up a story, and the easiest way to do is look at the stories that have been told. There's a lot of movies.
Hey, number one rule about writing is steal from the best.
Is what I mean. Well, I mean, if you look at all of this stuff, like there's, outside of the story structure stuff where I spend a couple weeks talking about, which would be getting to know Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, getting to know the Blake Snyder's Save the Cat beat sheets. Knowing like, okay, at these pages I have to do this. At page 15, if I'm writing a feature film, at page 15 I have to have my inciting incident. So I have 15 pages to lead up and bring everybody around to the inciting incident, because anybody who's looking at my script knows that this beat.
And that's free advice for all of you who didn't sign up for the screenwriting, because he just gave you a freebie right there, because he's such a good guy.
But so like I forget where I was going with that, because like just going like directly into.
He's already writing movies. Like he's writing another movie in his head right now. We've lost Chris. He's done. Topher is gone.
No, I was just stuck in because when I sat down and wrote the my sci-fi story. Rogan's Run. I literally just took the hero's journey, put it on my beat sheets, and went boom, boom, boom. This happens, this happens, this happens, and then wrote to the thing.
And that's what you got: man versus the elements. You have
that's what I was saying.
Person versus element, person versus self.
You have so many stories.
Someone else, you have
so many stories, and a lot of the stories are rehashing. There was a movie that came out a couple years ago. I can't remember the name of it now. I had it on the top of my head before I went on my diatribe. But it is literally a rehash of like 16 Candles.
Yeah.
But they added social media and some other stuff to it and kind of mixed it up. It still had similar beats. It still had the same premise. It still had the same concept. It was a coming of age thing in school and all of that stuff. And it, like, literally, if you would put the two together, it was a similar, like, whatever, but it was told with different twists. It was told with a different eye. It was told with a different thing, and that's what made it an interesting new film. And that's what I'm saying. Sorry that with the not getting the thoughts out and articulating. That's okay.
But that's what I'm talking about. Stuff like that, it's fine. The idea has been done, and that's okay, because I promise you, there's nothing new under the sun. But if you're a creator, you can take an idea and you can spin it and make it your own. Like, look, I'm just going to use karaoke as a perfect example. So when you're doing a karaoke song, the song has been done. The song is popular for a specific reason, usually because it sounds good or just people like it for whatever reason it might be. Like Cardi B, I don't understand, but that's fine. It's a completely different genre for me. But when you do karaoke,
it's the dance.
It probably is. But when you do karaoke, you're taking someone else's idea and you're making it yours. You're putting yourself into that idea to try to give a performance that might be a little bit different than the one they gave. That's why you hear cover versions of songs like Sound of Silence by Disturbed that are so successful, because they took what was already a great and haunting melody and song and just added to it and made it their own unique song. Johnny Cash and Hurt was a Trent Reznor song to start with, his 9 Inch Nails song. And Johnny Cash took that song, and even Trent Reznor admits that's his song now. Mm-hmm. He'll never be able to top that, and he knows it. So he's,
Bad Wolf or Bad Wolf.
Bad Wolf, Zombie, and that's the thing. Just because the idea has been done before doesn't mean that you can't do something similar and make it better.
Right, but what I'm saying is people are talking about like, oh, they don't come
Not a
out with
remake. Don't do remakes. That's just for music. Don't do remakes.
So they straight up come out and are like, oh, this is just a rehash of this, or it's just this. Is like every time somebody comes out with a new idea, it gets no traction. So nobody's going to produce new ideas.
No,
because you don't get get no love
that's
from
the thing
it.
too. So you've also had an oversaturation too, and that's been a big thing. Like superhero movies, nobody can do a new superhero movie because there's 500 of them out now.
Right.
What's the point?
I'm waiting for the pendulum to swing because I think it's about time to come back to vampires. It's either vampires or werewolves.
Or supernatural stuff, just in general. I think.
I'm talking about like in
monster,
horror,
like monster type movies. I think.
Well, because you got the monster side. You had zombies for the longest time.
Oh God, I'm so glad that pendulum finally swung the other way. I'm so tired. I was so burnt out on zombies.
So I'm as a writer, I'm looking at what trying to hedge my bets on like what is the next horror genre,
right?
To be the massive horror genre. Because if you come out with the first one or the second script, then it is that's where you can make the money and get it sold.
Excuse me, sorry, I was trying to get away from the mic.
But so it's like I was saying, creators are, there's several of them that are afraid of an intentional like people just being upset that they like straight up like, oh, I haven't talked to him, he hasn't done anything, but the he has like everybody being upset at Monty Cook. Nobody's upset at Monty Cook right now, whatever.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying like if all of a sudden like Monty Cook like they found something problematic in one of his old D&D things, and now they cancel him, and Monty Cook Games goes away. This 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 goes away. And it's literally something he did in the past. It was like, okay.
Well, part of me thinks it might be a strategy to level it out, so making these certain industries and stuff go away, so that way that they can replace it with what they want. And they become the only source. And that's actually it's a fool strategy. Like when you do that, when you take an enterprise and you completely collapse it, it leaves a power vacuum. So now you're like, I'm gonna march in there. Right, you guys want to play games? You can play my game.
Right, and then but the problem is you've created the air that somebody has to do is find that one problem, and then you go away.
Yep.
So rather
what a terrible world to live in, to be that paranoid all the time.
Well, no, I mean, and that's what that's how creators,
There's a Twilight Zone episode about that, actually.
Like literally they talking to writers and whatnot too, they can't do certain things without the possibility of losing their jobs. So you're seeing stories not having the impact that they could have if they would just fully and go with it.
Yeah, and I see and it goes beyond just the filmmaking and book writing and things like that. I see streamers, like you mentioned earlier, that they can't talk about certain things, and it's so ridiculous. Like the entire point of your platform, YouTube, is to allow people to say whatever they want, just to create whatever they want. That was the beauty of YouTube when it started. Is you would see the stupidest crap on YouTube, and now.
Okay, so.
Yeah, basically, it's an empty graveyard, a desolate graveyard of essentially unoriginal ideas, and it's sad. And much like the theater.
Speaking of the theater, let's kick it over to a small advertisement for the theater.
Yes, let's do a thing.
And then we'll come back with the closing on Ubisoft.
Yep. All right, you guys stick around. I put it at the computer that time. I did it. So you guys stick around. We'll be right back.
This is David Daniels. He is a creature of habit. David Daniels works, he eats, he sleeps, and relaxes with a drink. But being a creature of habit doesn't mean that David Daniels should sacrifice quality and taste.
Wow, that's horrible. I need a really good craft beer, and I mean now.
So off David Daniels goes to find good craft beer. And in no time at all, he finds Creatures of Habit Brewery.
Creatures of Habit? Well, that sounds like me.
With his curiosity piqued, David Daniels goes inside for a quick look.
Hi, David Daniels. I have something I want you to try.
How did you know my name, and how did you know I was coming in here?
Well, I heard your narrator. Here you go.
Now that's what I've been looking for.
Well, can I get a pint for you?
I would love a pint. Can I get a growler to go?
Sure, I can go ahead and get that ready for you so you can take it with you.
Fantastic.
Creatures of Habit, because you are one. Located at 1031 Meridian Street, in historic downtown Anderson, Indiana.
Okay, so we're back. We wanted to, as you start seeing behind us, some of the people are filing in for
Wonder Woman 84.
So,
Wonder Woman.
But real quick, I wanted to touch on the fact that Ubisoft is now being targeted again for in-game and microtransactions.
Well, they bring it on themselves. Like Ubisoft is like, man, EA's making a lot of money.
Well, no, it's one of those things that the Assassins Creed
Valhalla, which is fun, by the way. It's a really fun
I enjoy
game.
the crap out of it. In fact, there's 7 hours of it so far on our Twitch channel.
Really?
Yeah.
Just put some on there. I've stopped doing the 76 stuff, and there's a whole bunch of new stuff on there that I have to go and explore.
Right.
So,
no, like I literally logged in and it was like, hey, where's they started talking to me like it was you, and I was like, no. And like it says, Topher's checking out Valhalla. But
I'll be back on my streamers, I promise.
I literally just 7 hours, and I just hit the opening thing where it says Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
where
it's
I
an
actually get out of the
game. It's
where I
really,
get
it's
out
a very
of
enjoyable game. Ubisoft really did a good job with the presentation, the delivery, the cinematics, and the graphics, the gameplay. Everything is really tight and it's excellently done. And then they ruined it. Well, I wouldn't say they ruined it, but it's just when you take a game like Assassin's Creed, which already has some like really cool and unique stuff, especially like some of the older games, like with the DLCs and things, like they could tell more of the story, which was really cool. But when you take a game like Assassin's Creed and you start introducing, for better or worse, it's what they are, microtransactions in order to get skins that no one's gonna see.
Right. Well, like first, it's a single player. Here's where I'm kind of split on the subject. Like everybody, like people were quite literally like bringing them to task for it. It started off there wasn't going to be any transactions. You come out, here's the game. It was actually from what I understood, because I got it a month late or so. That it was actually a finished game.
I didn't get a day of.
It was actually a finished game.
Yeah.
So, like, unlike Unity or whatever, it didn't have, like, faceless people, like, or whatever, like, sitting around.
Any Bethesda game ever.
Yeah.
Or Cyberpunk, for that.
Right. But it was a good, everybody was like, oh, this is great, and yada, 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 and they really seemed to enjoy it. And then with a patch, they allowed you to buy skins and do some of the other stuff and do power-ups and whatnot. Here's where I get that, like, oh, they're just trying to milk more. You don't have to buy it. Now, if the game becomes progressively harder,
unless you have these things,
then it's a different thing. But it's a single-player game. If I've already burned through it and want to try it again doing something else, it's like, oh, instead of doing this right away, I want to go... instead of like immediately hopping into the main quest line, I want to go and raid everything right off the bat. Like as soon as I get to my boat, I want to go stop here and raid here, and I want to stop here. I want to get my whole map.
That's why I like Black Flag.
Yeah, still my favorite.
I love Black Flag. It's such a good one.
But so like I wanted to go do all that. Like I still haven't finished Black Flag because all I've done is
pirate stuff. Yeah, pirates everywhere. I think the field is ripe. and they need to just release a Pirates-based game that's not licensed by Disney. It's not full of a bunch of crap. Not Assassin's Creed, just a good Pirates-based game. And you know what's really funny? In the 80s and 90s, they actually had those for the PC and the Nintendo, Super Nintendo. They had those types of games, and they were fun.
If you want to run with that idea, make the check out to Geek Public Radio.
Come on, creators! I'm literally feeding you.
But no, so so we were talking about some doing whatever, but so it's a single player game. Like it doesn't bother me. Now what bothers me is like being able to go out and outspend somebody in a multiplayer game.
Yeah, that bugs me. So like the crates and stuff from like Call of Duty,
which is gambling. Like you
Fortnite.
you can literally just I might get something good, I might get something bad. I'm going to gamble. That's literally all it is.
And the thing about it is a lot of those games would allow you to recycle those items for like more currency. So technically it wasn't gambling because you always won something, and that's the way they got around
right, but they're actually shut out of different countries because of gambling.
I know. It's because they don't look at it in the technicality sense. They look in the spirit of it, and they're like, no, it's gambling. That's what it is.
I know guys that are in Gamblers Anonymous.
But I'm still big on a letter of the law versus spirit of the law. Like, this is the way the law is written. This is what it's supposed to be. But there's some room for interpretation for spirit. So,
but it's still one of those things. Is like it's a single player game, and as long as I can enjoy the game without having to, I got to get this boost, or I can't get to this point.
Right.
There's microtransactions in WoW.
Yeah.
If I want to change my name, it costs me $60 or $35. I think if I want to change thing, it costs me this much. If I want to say I've already leveled my character to the max, but I want to level this character up so I can enjoy the in-game content with an alt, $60, and I can level him all the way up.
Okay.
Just with a push of a button. I can do this. I can do that. I can buy this new mount. Nobody's complaining about that stuff in WoW.
Right.
Because it doesn't necessarily impact your performance versus PvP. You're not buying the Unholy Avenger for your Dark Knight,
right?
Or Death Knight.
Yeah. I don't play WoW, so you're just all this is foreign to me. Like, I understand the concept of MMOs and things like that, so it's not foreign in that regard.
But so you're not getting all this whatever gear, but like you get into Call of Duty and you have. I have this rare gun that does more damage, and I have this that does this, and I have this awesome paint job, and it does this, and I have
Thankfully, almost every one of the items that are available for even the microtransactions, the purchases, the things like that, like the loot boxes. Thankfully, all of those are typically cosmetic. You might get a new gun. And that's okay, but that gun is still available through progression. Like, you can still get it through progression. You just might unlock it earlier, which is fine. So, and I've never been opposed to making an item available for purchase. So, like, one of the games that I play on my phone is a mobile game.
until your kid gets a hold of it and
ruins
charges $6,000 worth of loot boxes.
And that's why you put the parental controls for your PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. It's why you put parental controls on it to make them put a password in, and you just never tell them what the password is, ever.
Right.
Don't tell them what the password is, ever. Anyways, so one of the games that I play is you can progress to unlock these characters, or $15 you can buy them. So I'm okay with that. I keep moving the camera, y'all. I'm so used to that. I'm so used to that big desk that we have. And I just put my foot on it. I'm like, yeah. Right. I can't do that with this one.
But no, so but yeah, so like I'm torn.
Ubisoft.
Like I'm torn in the fact that it's just a single player game. Let I don't care. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not.
I literally went on this.
It's stupid, in my opinion, but it's not.
When somebody brought it to my attention, I literally went on this tirade about something else, and they said, "Well, okay, so I really don't care." And I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty much my standing about Ubisoft and microtransactions in a single player game." He went, "Fair enough."
It's more of a I think my irritation actually just comes from the handout. Like, they're just like, hey, do you want to pay us money? Like, we're not already making billions. I just smacked the crap out of them.
Right, but I mean, what it is continuation of because there's a lot more people who are working on games now than there used to be, and
that's extremely accurate, and that is why the prices of games are actually slated. They're going to go up. People are going to lose their minds when they go up another $10 because inflation's real.
Right.
So
that's how things are going to go. We're getting the thing. So
we're getting the hurry up signal.
So we're going to get out of here. Hope you have a great New Year's. Shout outs to the Alec Theater. Shout outs to Creatures of Habit and Anderson. They're still wonderful people.
Yes.
We're going to be working with them in the near future. Come out January 15th. Get your tickets at the Alec Theater website. Come join us and do all that other stuff. Hope you have a great night.
I want to do my shout outs.
Stuff.
Jerk.
Go ahead.
All right, so really quick, shout-outs to Jeff, the producer, Tenacious T. Shout-outs to this guy right here for always organizing and being able to get us into some really cool places. The Alec Theater, obviously, has already been mentioned. My guys over there at the Bring the Juice Colts podcast, you guys are amazing. Thank you very much. Colts Talk Radio, all that. Thank you guys so very much for your continued support. And special shout-outs to Krista. It's her birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
So happy birthday. It's her 25th birthday, everybody. So, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And hope you guys had a good Christmas, and hope you have a great New Year's. I've been Crazy Chris.
Topher the Hairy Bastard.
All right. Peace.
Peace.